I am Michelle Chalfant, psychotherapist, holistic life coach, and human just like you, learning to navigate life's challenges. With over 25 years experience, I teach people how to get healthy using the adult chair model. The adult chair model is where simple psychology meets grounded spirituality, and it teaches us how to become healthy adults. From anxiety and depression to codependency and relationship issues, you can use the adult chair for just about anything. Each week, I share practical tips, tools, and advice from myself and a wide range of experts on how to get unstuck, how to live authentically, and how to truly love yourself, all while sitting in your adult chair. Welcome to the Adult Chair Podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Adult Chair Podcast. I am Michelle Chalfant, and we are today in the final week of January, podcast number 247. Wow. I hope everyone's having a good January. How are those New Year's resolutions going? I don't know if that's where this question came from. We got this question. I can't remember if it was emailed in or came in on social. No, I think it was social media, and then people started commenting on it. Yes, please, please, please do a podcast on this. Today's episode is all about decision making and lack thereof. Why is it so difficult for us to make a decision? And what in the world are we to do about it? How do we make that change? How do we become someone that makes decisions in our lives and really makes good, positive change in our lives for ourselves? So that's what I'm going to be chatting with you about today. The only thing I want to share with you is that if you're new, please go to theadultchair.com if you'd like more information about what the adult chair is, which is just basically a manual for life. It's a manual for healthy living. There is so much going on with the adult chair, you guys. As you know, we've launched something like an adult chair meetup. We've got adult chair coaching certification coming up in the next month or so. We'll be telling you more about that. We've already run one of those programs last year. We're doing the second one this year. We've got the adult chair membership, which is $1 right now, just for a couple weeks. So you can try it out if you'd like that. There's a lot of free stuff. I've got meditations, journaling prompts. All of it is at the adult chair. So if you want more information and you're new, go check it out. And of course, you can connect with me on social. I'm all over the place. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. Just go to Michelle Chalfant at any of those places and you will find me, as well as, of course, the Adult Chair closed group on Facebook if you would like to be amongst other people that are also practicing and working with the adult chair. Just check that out. All right. So now let's jump right into decision making. And again, what people asked me about was, let's talk decision making and lack thereof. What is going on? Why is it so difficult for humans to make decisions? For not everybody, but a lot of us. Well, one word, why it's difficult, and that would be the ego. I'm sorry. Because when we make a decision, it butts up against our inner ego structures that are built and designed and formed to keep us safe. So we're born blank slates, of course, we're little babies. We come into the world, we can do whatever we want. And the world is at our fingertips. And then what happens is our families, our friends, our coaches, our teachers, our whomever starts to really influence how we see the world, how we show up in the world. And that's when the ego comes in and says, don't do this. Don't cry. You'll get in trouble. Don't act out in class. You'll get in trouble. Do this and you'll get loved. Don't do that. If you know what I'm saying here, like this, these are these inner beliefs. They're first outer beliefs. They're conscious beliefs that are formed, and then they drop into the unconscious mind, and then they run our lives. And the ego just takes over and says, okay, I know what to do to keep you safe. I know what to do to help you to feel accepted in the world. Act like this, do that. And don't make any big decisions. Because think about it like this. The ego helps us to feel safe. That's its job. It's based in fear. We're in this adolescent chair most of our lives. So in this adolescent chair, this is where the ego is, and it's the seat of the survivor. So its job is to keep us alive. So again, its intention isn't bad. It's just an unconscious part of us that really needs some help and needs consciousness. So this is why we have such a difficult time making decisions, is because the ego, unconsciously again, is whispering to us saying, don't do that. That's not safe. Don't make more money. Why would you want to get a new job? Why would you switch jobs? What if you change jobs and then the next one is an epic failure? What if you move into a new house and it's the wrong house? What if you move into a bigger house and then you get judged by your friends and your family and your neighbors because the house is too big? What if you move into a smaller house? Then you're going to get judged because the house is too small. What if you do this? You'll get judged for this. You see where I'm going? It's like, no matter what, the ego can kind of run wild if we're not conscious. So the ego's job is to keep us comfortable. It's not its job to keep us comfortable, but it wants to keep us comfortable because when we're in that comfortable and safe place, it can just relax for a moment. But it's seeing things through the eyes of, or the lens of, fear. So I know I've worked with people that have said to me that have really wanted just to get in shape. It's not even about losing all this weight and getting skinny. It's not about that. It's just about getting in shape. Like some people I've worked with have been really overweight, and for their health, they needed to lose weight and get in shape. And again, I'm not promoting being skinny, so please do not email me about that. I'm talking about someone that is having the risk of getting diabetes or heart attack because they're that overweight, and they're afraid. They're afraid to make that decision because, and when we work through it, what's come out is, well, what if I do get in really good shape? I'm going to get more attention, and that's really uncomfortable. So I'm going to give you ways at the end of this on what you do, how you are able to then overcome this and start making decisions in your life. But that's what I had found. I remember working with quite a few people actually that really just needed to get in shape, and it was really difficult. They were blocked by that. So just know that this is one of the reasons why we have a very difficult time. It's because our ego wants us to stay safe, does not want us to change, doesn't want to use up any energy to change. It just likes when we're quote unquote comfortable. Okay? Comfortable, emotionally comfortable, and physically comfortable. Another thing that happens is there's fear in making the wrong decision. Again, what if I leave my job for this job that I really, really want, this job that feels right? But what if I get fired? What if it's not as good of a job? What if I don't like anyone that I work with? And then it's the wrong decision. So again, that ego is going to come in and say, stay put, stay safe, don't change, we need to avoid judgment at all cost. And here's the thing, if we perceive failure, right? We perceive that failure may happen. We then, again, it's that inner ego part comes in, and we become critical of self. We become judgers of self. This could lead to anxiety and depression. So it's like a downward spiral. So again, all of these things are happening inside of us just because we are trying to make a decision. And when I talk about someone that's falling into maybe anxiety and depression, because what happens is when these ruminating thoughts get going, because God forbid if I make the wrong choice or the wrong decision, and if I do and I get fired from this job, then I go into this ruminating negative thoughts about, wow, what a bad choice that was. Why did I marry that person? Why did I date that person? I have talked to a lot of people in my career that have been so upset with themselves for dating someone that was emotionally abusive, that would gaslight them, someone that was weak, that couldn't set boundary with the children. Why did I marry this person? What's wrong with me? And there's so much negativity, inner negativity that's coming from themselves because they're perceiving something on the outside that was a failure. Again, they're perceiving, I failed at this because I chose this partner, this job, this whatever. So therefore, I'm spinning myself into so much negativity on the inside, the negative ruminating talk, negative self-talk, the inner critic kicks in. And if we're not aware of it and conscious to this, And it just becomes constant every single day. It can spin us into, like I said, depression. So when I'm speaking of depression, this is another, number 3, reason why some of us aren't great at, I should say, decision making. So if this is you're not great at decision making, just do a check. Might be something to look at. If you're not making decisions and you feel stuck, are you also feeling fatigued? Maybe you feel sad. It could be a sign of depression. You don't even know it. So you can either become anxious and depressed from not making decisions, but also you could be depressed first, and this is why you're not making decisions. So just look at that. See if that could be you. Okay? So those are 3 reasons why we do not make decisions and why we just stay stuck in our lives. So I'm going to give you a few ways to get out of this and start making decisions in your life. Number 1, write it down. What the heck are you trying to make a decision about? Pick anything. Please, please, please write it down on a piece of paper in front of you. Don't type it, write it. There's something to be said about pen to paper. And there's something to be said about taking your ideas out of the ethers, out of the mind, into your 3D reality where you can actually physically look at it in front of you. You can make a pro and con list. When we do this, we are bringing it out of what I call the ping pong match that's going on in the mind. Think about left and right hemisphere of the brain. It's like going back and forth. Like think about a ping pong game up there. It's like, should I do this? Should I take this job? Should I marry so-and-so? I don't know. Maybe I should. Maybe it's not a good idea. Maybe it would be good. And I don't know. Maybe it's this back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, back and forth, never ending ping pong match. But if you'd like to make a decision about it, become conscious. And that one of the ways we do that is to bring it in front of you on paper. Write it down. You can journal about it too, but I'm just talking about making a list of bullet points. You can do pros and cons. That's fine. I had a friend of mine who, I remember years ago, she could not make a decision about buying a car seat. She was sick about it. Should I buy this one or this one? It was like this whole thing over a car seat. And I went through it with her. I said, okay, here are your options. Do you want to buy, or there's this, that's an option, this or this. Here's all the pros with this and the cons, pros with this, cons, pros with this, cons. And then she said, oh, well, that makes it a lot easier. I think I'll just go with that one. So narrowed it down, pros and cons, boom, she made a decision. When you see the options for some reason, when they're in front of you, it's so helpful. It's bringing it into consciousness. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, examine the decision that you're making at every angle. Again, this is more, instead of making a pro and con list, this might be journaling about it or being really thoughtful when you're writing about taking that new job, let's say. Examine every angle. Well, if I take the job, this could happen. Or that. Or that. If I decide to get this puppy, I'm going to be up all night, possibly. I'm going to be having to come home during the workday and let the dog out, or I'm going to have to get a dog sitter, or I could do this. Put a lot of ors in there. Or my neighbor could come over. How much is that going to cost me? We want to write it down. Write down every possible angle. I'm going to get a lot of love when I have this puppy. As this dog gets older, I can take him to the dog park. As the dog gets older, I can take him camping with me. Like write down every possibility about making that decision. Okay? Next, number 3. When you've written all this down and you're taking a look at it, feel it. Let your body be the navigation system for what to do. It sounds airy-fairy, but let me tell you, my friends, your body and your heart are connected to something bigger with you. You will feel guided if you give your body a chance. You will feel either an expansion in the body, and it might be slight, or a contraction. Your body will open or close. So here's how you do it. Take the idea of the whatever, the job, the person you want to marry, the person you want to date, going and getting healthy, whatever it is you want to make a decision about. And you want to run it through your heart. You can imagine yourself in a very, 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 very slow moving river. And you take the idea and put it in a little bubble in front of you and extend your arms and let it go and let this little bubble with the idea flow right through your heart, right through your body. And what happens, do it very slowly and let the bubble go through you, and then notice what happens to your body. Does it open or close? This takes the mind completely out of it and lets your body navigate this decision. How does it feel to move? Feel it. Run it through your body. And to be honest with you, it might not make any sense. I remember working with a girl when I had a private practice in Nashville, when I was in person a couple of years ago. She was a new client, and she came to me and said, it's the craziest thing. She was from Chicago, and she said, I was working and I kept getting all these signs that I was supposed to move to Nashville. And I said, well, that's cool. She goes, it just felt right. It made no sense why I would leave all my friends and my family and move to Nashville, but I just felt like I needed to move down here, and it was the best decision. I don't know where it came from. I'm like, yes, of course, you're in your body following your heart, not your head, because her head said, this is dumb. Your whole family lives here. You're born and raised in Chicago. Why in the world would you ever move to Nashville? You don't know a soul. This makes no sense. But when it felt right to her, she did it. And it was the best decision that she could have made. So I encourage you, learn to live from feeling decisions in the heart space or the body. It doesn't matter, heart or body, same thing. Run it through. I do this with everything from, gosh, should we go out to dinner here or there? Should we do this or that? I was just yesterday at a place buying tile. I'm redoing the floors in my downstairs, and it was overwhelming. Let me tell you, there's tile, there's vinyl flooring, there's hardwood flooring. There had to be probably 300 different things that I could have put on this floor. And I'm walking through this place and I'm like, I am so overwhelmed because there's so many of these that I like. And then I said, you know what? I'm just going to run it through my heart. And I narrowed it down to 2. I'm telling you, there were a ton that I liked. I said, which one feels best? So I bought the samples of the 2. They're sitting in my kitchen right now. And I just keep walking by them and I'm feeling them. I'm like, I got to narrow it down now. This one feel right or this one? And I'm already leaning toward the one. So feel it. I don't care if you're standing in the grocery store asking yourself, which toothpaste should I buy? Just practice this and have fun with it. Let me tell you something. You will be amazed at how much your body responds. Drop the thought in. This is another way to do it. Instead of standing in a river, you drop the thought in right through the top of your head, but let it trickle down through your body, right down your spinal cord and land somewhere in the core of your being. And then let your body feel which choice to make. It's powerful. And the more you practice this, it's like lifting weights, it's like a muscle. The more you practice this, the faster your body will respond. Kind of like yesterday, because I've been doing this for probably 15 years, going through the tile and flooring place. I was like, this one, no, this one, no, this one. It's like quick. I can do that with vitamins in the store. I just grab the box of vitamins and I feel it. Nope, my body isn't like this. Is my body like this? It's like, you become a fine-tuned instrument when you practice this. So let me tell you, this can change your life alone, just this one step. And you don't have to do these in any order. Do the ones again that feel right for you. And remember this too. This is about taking baby steps. You don't have to take this big giant step, but what would be a small step that you could take toward, again, a bigger decision? Break it down for yourself. What's a smaller step? What are some baby steps? Think about taking little itty bitty steps forward, like taking 1 inch at a time or a centimeter at a time, a little bit and a little bit. And then all of a sudden you're doing, instead of 1 centimeter moving forward, you're taking 10 centimeters, and then you're taking 100, and then you're taking 1,000. It's like all of a sudden your steps get bigger. But in the beginning, the first step might be, you know what? I'm just going to write this down. That's your first step. Great. Okay. Then the next step, let's say you're going to buy a house. The next step, and you're afraid, you're everything's saying, no, no, no. Your brain's saying, no, 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 but it feels right. The next step might be, I'm going to do a budget. How much is it going to cost me to get this house? The next step might be, I'm going to call a mortgage broker. Let me see if I can afford it. Let me see how much it's going to, etc. So you're taking baby steps before you jump to putting your house on the market, selling your house and jumping it. This eases the ego. It de-stresses the ego and calms it down. It's like taking little tiny bites out of something instead of big giant bites. Okay. Okay. Last step. Oftentimes when people say things like, I really want to, again, fill in your blank of making the decision, whatever decision it is. I really want to move forward with, let's use buying a house. But I feel really blocked. We assume that feeling blocked means it's bad. But the block could be, again, our ego throwing up a block because it's afraid. So what do we do when we feel blocked? So many of my clients, and myself even, I'm sure you guys have used the language like, I feel like there's a wall blocking me. I feel like there's a boulder in the way and I can't get around it. I feel like my feet are in cement. Why can't I move forward? You know what I'm talking about? That's a part of you. The adult chair model is all about, a big part of this model, I should say, is working with parts. Remember, there's not just one of you. You are made up of, think about a 100-piece puzzle, 500-piece puzzle. You have all these inner parts that are making up your whole. So when you think about making a decision, one of your parts might say, that's unsafe, not doing that. And it's an ego part. So again, the ego has multiple parts. So as we sit in this adolescent chair and exist in this adolescent chair, it's like, again, if you look at a puzzle that's put together, it looks like a whole puzzle, a whole scene of, the Empire State Building, but it's a puzzle piece of 500 pieces that is existing in that chair. So examine that one part. It might have a very loud voice and feel big, but it's just a part of you. So this is a quick example of how you work with parts. So let's just say you have something that says, or you start feeling like there's a boulder in the way. I just can't move forward. Close your eyes and imagine that boulder right in front of you. And you can have a conversation with it. But remember, you've got to stay anchored in your adult chair. So you stay anchored in your adult, the person you are today. So if you're 40 years old and it's the year 2021, that's the part that's going to talk to the boulder. You want to be mindful that you're not going to revert back to some younger version of yourself. So stay in your 40-year-old self or your 45-year-old self and say, hello, boulder. Hi. I want to get to know you. And you just start dialoguing with this boulder. What are you all about? What's your message for me? What's your purpose? These are just some questions these are some questions you can ask this part that's in the way. This is an important question when you ask it. Hey, boulder, how old do you think I am? And just wait. When you ask these questions, wait for the response. Notice, by the way, when I'm working with my parts, I'm not yelling at my part. I'm not commanding the part. I'm getting to know it. It's got a purpose. Remember, because it's coming from the ego, it's trying to keep you safe. It's not a bad part. It's an uninformed part. It doesn't know you, age, whatever you are today, your 40, 45, 60-year-old self, is navigating the ship, is being the CEO, is running the show here. It doesn't know you. It's an unconscious part. So by talking to it, we are making it conscious, okay? And we are then bringing it more into the whole you. So it typically is shocked. I've done this work for 20 some years, parts work. And I love asking it, how old do you think I am? Boulder, something like this. And it typically thinks we are anywhere from just born to, a very young age. Sometimes it thinks we're a little bit older, but 99% of the time it'll say, well, you're 3. And then you educate it. It's uninformed. It's not bad. It's uninformed. So that's when you say, actually, no, I am 40 years old. I live in wherever, Des Moines, Iowa, Orlando, Florida, whatever you want to say. I live alone. I have a family. I have a job, whatever is going on with your current reality, you share it with that part and you say to it very confidently, I thank you for what you've done for me, but I don't need you anymore. It's time for you to go. It's time for you to go. Because I really am excited about, or I'm looking forward to this decision that I'm making. And I understand why you were blocking me, but I don't need you to block me. I'm very much looking forward to this decision. And you can let it know what that decision is that you're making. You can say, I'm very much looking forward to getting married. I'm very much looking forward to moving. I'm very much looking forward to this new job. I'm very much looking forward to buying this couch. Whatever it is you're doing, you let that part know. Because what's happening is you're feeling what's going on within you, your own enthusiasm, and you're giving it now, forwarding it on to this part of you so it can feel, wow, he or she is really excited about it. So then the part knows there is someone else in charge. I don't have to dominate. I don't have to block because this person, this adult knows what they're doing. So then I can step out of the way. So parts work is really powerful. It's actually really fun. I love doing parts work. It's one of my favorite things to do. So here's the thing, you guys. Because of our ego, based in fear, we may or may not get to 100% feeling like, oh yes, I'm going to go ahead and move. I'm going to go ahead and marry this person. But we might. There's a really good chance that you might. But if you can feel at least 80% and you have a little fear, it's okay to have a little bit of fear. To me, like I've said before, if I'm leaving, a store at 8:00 at night and it's pitch dark, you better believe it that I better have some fear, or let's use a better word for that, caution when I'm walking to my car. I don't want to get jumped. I don't want someone to come by and steal my purse or whatever. So I'm going to be cautious and aware and alert. And if the 20% fear gives me that caution, that's okay. But it doesn't mean you don't move forward until you feel 100% without fear. So if you have at least 80% without fear, move forward. Move forward. Just like the book says, feel your fear and do it anyway. So you hold hands with your fear and you go, I got this. 20% fear or less, I'm going to do it anyway. And if you're making a decision like getting yourself healthy, eating a new way, going to the gym, taking daily walks, whatever the heck it is that you're doing, remember, or journaling or meditating, whatever it is that you're doing, that you're changing, it does take 30 days to make a change. You've got to have repetition for 30 days. So remember to do one thing at a time. Don't commit to the gym. I'm going to give up sugar. I'm going to move. I'm going to journal every single day. It's like, no, pick one thing and incorporate it into your daily routine. Or again, if it's this one thing that you're doing, like moving, let's commit for 30 days to moving forward with every part of moving, like I said, or decision around moving, whether it be getting a mortgage, making lists, all of that. Don't overwhelm your brain, because what happens is when you overwhelm yourself with too many decisions at one time, the ego goes into shutdown mode and it says, forget it, not doing anything. You all know what I'm talking about. I don't want to do anything. I'm not going to eat this way. Forget it. It's too much. Don't want to do it. Not interested. I promise you this. When you bring consciousness into your reality, when it comes to decision making, and do these steps that I just shared with you today, I will promise you, if you practice this, your life will change, and you will find that decision making becomes easier than you imagined. All right. I guarantee it. Because let me tell you, I try this on myself and with myself. So if I can do this, anybody can do it. I'm a tough student. So I promise you guys that. Again, would love to hear about your experience with this. Shoot me any sort of comment in social media. I love to read your comments there. And that's it, you guys. Remember, if you're new or not new, even if you're not new, there's so much happening with the Adult Chair. Something in your area that's free. How about an Adult Chair meetup group? Yeah, we're doing that too. So check it out at theadultchair.com. We'd love for you to be part of our family here. Okay, that's it. Happy end of January 2021. I will see you guys next week in February, seated right here in the Adult Chair.